This episode is brought to you by the Neon Nail Company.
Welcome into the 12th episode of the Market Like a Millennial podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Itnyre. And today, folks, marketing is on top of mind. And I figured what better way to get it off my mind than having a conversation centered around building an authentic brand that resonates with your community and hopefully simplifying that process for you. It is an amazing time for roofing on social. There's so many new faces that I'm seeing taking the opportunity to build a brand for their roofing company, to start their journey of building a personal brand. And listen, for me, the more contractors that are in the space, producing quality content, promoting the idea of a gold standard of contracting, I think that it uplifts the community in so many different ways. And I think if we all make a splash in our own unique way, it changes the stereotypes that have plagued our industry for decades. And so that's always been my mission from the beginning. And I think the people that want a community, that want to collaborate, to ultimately dominate our own individual market and produce high quality content that not only educates, but gets people in the door, that is the ultimate goal. And our community is growing. New faces are coming to me each and every day asking for mentorship and guidance, and it truly means the world to me. With the recent surge in the community, people coming onto the platform and dropping great content, let me tell you that the people that are coming in making an effort, they're really giving it their all. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to simplify the process for you and let you know what connects with people to ultimately get you the results that you need to keep going. Because that's one of the most frustrating things as a creator, especially when you're first starting. You're putting everything you have into the content that you're creating. And some people invest a ton of money into it as well. And when you're not getting the results, that can ultimately lead to people getting frustrated and quitting. And I'm here to tell you, I am living proof that if you stick with it long enough, not only will you build a community, but so many different opportunities will start presenting itself to you. So keep going, keep the faith. And what I hope to do today, if you get anything out of this podcast, is simplifying the process of connecting with your content. Let's get right into the subject matter for today. How do we make our content in a way that authentically connects and resonates with the people consuming it, whether it's your everyday homeowner or whether it's a fellow contractor? And as I've analyzed the way that I operate on social, content ideas come to me all the time. However, I've found that the complex ones I tend to sit on and think about until they are simple enough to put out. Now, you might be saying to yourself, why would you do that? It took me a while to recognize this, but I found out over the years, looking back at content, the complex ideas that I just took and I ran with it and put it out. At the time, I was saying to myself, I just got to put out content. Quantity is king. But what I wasn't realizing is that sometimes those complex ideas are far too complex to resonate with everyone. And so if you just put out a piece of content, and even though it's executed properly and you're hitting all your points and it's going over people's head, you will almost always miss mark. Because I found out recently, I looked back at several different pieces of content, and you got about 7 to 10 seconds to sit there and engage the person consuming that piece of content, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. And so how are you going to hook that person in that 7 to 10 seconds that you are working with? For me, these simple ideas you can structure in a way that connects almost immediately. And if it doesn't hit or resonate with that person, then, oh well, it was something simple, spare of the moment, and I was putting it out for people to get value out of. The complex ones, though, the ones that you feel will do big numbers if it's structured the right way, if you take the time to sit down and say, okay, how can everyone absorb this, from the home enthusiast, from the fellow roofing contractor, and the homeowner? How do they all get value out of this in 30 seconds? I think that's one of the best ways to sit there and make more effective content. Simple messaging is not dumbing down an idea. I think it's important to recognize that the initial 7 to 10 seconds of a video needs to be about presenting to the consumer why they should continue watching the video. And if you can get that person to commit to say, I want to see what happens, and finish the rest of the video out, that's ultimately going to give you the results that you want. But you have to be able to do it in a way that makes sense. And complex ideas do sell. However, if they're too complex for people to get on board with in the first 7 to 10 seconds of a video, they're already checked out. They're moving on to something else. Because we went over it in past videos. Why are people on Instagram or TikTok or, Facebook Reels? They're on there to get value in a simple, entertaining way. The videos where I educate on the spot, I'm intentional about putting that information out there for everyone to get value out of. And a lot of the times, I'm comfortable with the material I'm putting out already, and I leave it in an impromptu manner because I want the authenticity to shine through. And because I've talked about it over and over again with homeowners in the house at our design center, I'm able to do so. So putting the time in is very important. And one of the most important things is that you look back on your content. And one of the things that I always reflect on, and I always ask myself, what do people get out of the content that I produce each and every day? And I hope that they're educated. I hope that they are entertained. I hope that they see the value of what we do here at Masters Roofing and the level of craftsmanship. And most importantly, on a personal brand level, I hope they see the commitment that I have to the industry and making it better. And so there's so many different things that you can convey in your content. But the complex ideas, I want to be sincere about my approach in it. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that everyone wants to be an expert tomorrow. And being an expert is something that you have to earn. It's not something that happens overnight. You might have put 5 to 10 years or 15, 20 years into learning a trade. But to be able to take that education that you have and be able to convey a message in a proper way on camera, that's opening up a whole nother Pandora's box of trying to be able to do that properly. And in all honesty, I struggle when people sit there and say I'm an expert in something or give me praise because I know about, whether it's social media or how I pitch products. Because are we ever really experts? There will always be new roofing processes that I'm learning about. There will always be a new product that comes onto the market and revolutionizes the industry and that I have to become an expert in. And there will always be innovations to keep track of and understand. There will always be a new social media platform that pops up that you have to learn how to execute on. So are we ever truly experts? I don't think so. And I would argue that there's far too many of them. There's far too many experts that sit there and take that title without really being one. So for me, I take a lot of pride in continuing learning about the process, continuing to push myself, and evolve, and ultimately set the standard, being able to help people along the way. That is what's most important to me, wherever that leads me. So I'm not really sure how many minutes into this podcast we are, but I can tell you that we haven't talked about a single thing that I planned on talking about today. What I want to leave you guys with is that social media content shouldn't be that complicated. One of the things that I live by, and an acronym that I always use, is KISS, which means keep it simple, stupid, right? And not saying that I'm trying to offend anyone here, but social media content should be intimate. It should make a connection, and that should be the ultimate goal. And what I wanted to talk about today, and what I'll leave you with, is that it should be like inviting a friend over to the house, right? You bring them in, you show them how you live, right? You'll find out as soon as you walk into someone's house whether you take your shoes off or not, right? That's telling. You'll go out to the back patio and you'll have discussions about ideas and how you approach life, what you're into. That should be conveyed on social. And you'll also learn about how someone even cooks, right? Whether they have a Blackstone, you'll learn about different products that they're fond of, whether it's a sound bar in the living room that gives you complete surround sound when you're watching an Avengers movie, or a Blackstone out back. And if someone's cooking hibachi on it, they might show you how to do it. What that does is that as someone that goes over to someone's house, if you walk out on the back porch and they cook hibachi in front of you and tells you all the benefits about how easy it is to cook on, and, you know, how there's no cleanup at the end because you're not dirtying up dishes, you'll end up walking out of that house saying, man, I would really like a Blackstone, honey. And so all that builds up a connection with that person, and you get insights on the values that they promote, what's important to them. And that's what social should be. And that's what you should be trying to convey each and every day. You should try to allow your company's core values to shine through. What makes your company different, whether it's breaking custom metal or whether you do TPO. And what your true intentions are and what you believe. And if you're able to do that and keeping it in a simple manner and not getting too fancy with it, you'll ultimately win. So that concludes this episode of the Market Like a Millennial podcast. Much love to all you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Mastersroofing.memphis is where you can find us. My name's Andrew Itnyre, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Market Like a Millennial podcast. Be sure to like, share, and comment today. And I hope that you guys are getting value out of this. People that are listening, that are taking the time, it truly means the world to me. And the connections that I've been able to make off of this podcast, because people are listening to it and reaching out. And even though the numbers don't reflect it, the individual connection is what is most important to me. So I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me going, and this is for you. Much love to all you guys.